Imagine two countries go to war. One of them is the United States. Now here is the part nobody tells you up front. America almost never fights wars on American soil. The factories stay standing. The bridges do not collapse. The farmland keeps producing food. Every other major power in the 20th century fought on home ground. Europe burned. Asia bled. The Middle East was carved up like a dinner plate. America sent men. America lost lives. That part is real and it matters. But America did not lose its infrastructure. And that distinction changed everything. Let us go back to 1914. The world is about to tear itself apart. World War I kills 17 million people across 4 brutal years. Britain, France, Germany, Russia, all fighting on their own doorstep. Factories destroyed. Debt exploding. Entire economies on life support. Meanwhile, somewhere across the Atlantic, American steel mills are running double shifts. American farms are shipping food to starving European soldiers. American banks are lending billions to governments that desperately need cash. J.P. Morgan alone arranged $2 billion in allied loans. That was the entire annual budget of the United States government at the time. Think about that for 1 second. A single bank, one war, $2 billion. By the time America officially entered the war in 1917, the math was already done. Europe owed America money, enormous structural, generational amounts of money. The war ended in 1918. Europe was rubble, America was creditor to the world. Before the war, Britain was the global financial superpower. The pound ruled everything. After the war, that title began quietly transferring to New York. Not through conquest, through compound interest. Then comes World War II. And this is where the story gets truly extraordinary. By 1945, the rest of the industrialized world has been bombed into submission. Germany is ash. Japan is ash. Britain is technically on the winning side. But Britain spent everything, sold its colonies, borrowed from Washington. The British Empire, centuries old, effectively ended because of a debt bill. France, devastated. The Soviet Union lost 27 million people. 27 million, let that sit. And America? America ended the war with the largest manufacturing base on Earth. American GDP had doubled during the conflict. Doubled. During a world war. This is where the uncomfortable math enters the room. In 1944, before the war even ended, American officials called a meeting. 44 countries flew their delegations to a hotel in Bretton Woods, New Hampshire. There, the United States effectively wrote the rules of the global financial system. The dollar became the world reserve currency. Every country that wanted to trade oil, grain, weapons, technology needed dollars. To get dollars, they needed to sell things to America or borrow from America. Either way, America won. The IMF, the World Bank, both headquartered in Washington, both designed by American architects. This was not an accident, this was architecture, deliberate, elegant, ruthless architecture. Here is how the mechanism actually works in plain language. When a country needs emergency money, it goes to the IMF. The IMF gives a loan. The loan comes in dollars. To repay the loan, that country must earn more dollars. To earn dollars, it must orient its economy toward American markets and American interests. Suddenly, a financial crisis in Argentina or Thailand is also an American leverage point. The war did not create this system. The war created the conditions to impose it. Without the destruction of every competing economy, America could never have pulled this off. Now fast forward to 1973. A new war. The Yom Kippur War in the Middle East. Arab nations embargo oil. Prices explode, the world panics. Henry Kissinger flies to Saudi Arabia and makes a deal that almost nobody voted on. Saudi Arabia will sell oil only in US dollars. In exchange, America provides military protection. Every other OPEC nation follows. The petrodollar system is born. Now every country on Earth that needs oil, which is every country on Earth, needs dollars. They accumulate dollars. To store dollars safely, they buy US Treasury bonds, which means foreign governments are essentially funding the American government's spending. The more the world needs oil, the more the world funds Washington. The more Washington is funded, the more military it can project to protect that oil. It is a circle. A very profitable, self-reinforcing, occasionally violent circle. The Gulf War in 1991 cost America $61 billion, but American allies paid $54 billion of that. Japan, Germany, Saudi Arabia all paid up. America ran a war and almost turned a profit. The Iraq War starting 2003 cost over $2 trillion by conservative estimates.
That sounds like a loss.
That sounds like a loss. But look at who got the reconstruction contracts. Halliburton, Bechtel, DynCorp, Lockheed Martin, all American companies. The money left the Treasury. It came back to American shareholders and executives. War is a fiscal loop, public cost, private gain. The public
specs are
rarely
confirmed.
notices.
Excellent.
Let us talk about the defense industry because this is where abstraction becomes cash. Lockheed Martin made $67 billion in revenue in 2023 alone. Roughly 70% of that came from the US government. When a conflict starts anywhere on Earth, Lockheed's stock frequently goes up. This is not conspiracy. This is a business model that has been legal for decades, and the engineers, the lobbyists, the retired generals turned corporate consultants all depend on it. There is even a term for it. Dwight Eisenhower invented it in 1961. He called it the military-industrial complex. He was the president. He was warning us. A sitting American president warned the country about war as a profit machine. Most people have heard the phrase. Almost nobody sat with what it meant. Here's the part that usually gets left out of the story. The countries on the other side of these equations do not simply stay poor. They are often kept poor, structurally, through debt conditions and trade agreements. A nation that owes the World Bank money must cut social spending to qualify for refinancing, cut hospitals, cut schools, open markets to foreign corporations. The citizens suffer. The government survives. The debt gets repaid mostly. This is not a moral judgment. It is a description of how the plumbing works.
We need to consider the
plumbing
timeline.
was designed
Agreed.
during
The
and
budget
after
is the key.
wars that
Let's align
America
on
uniquely
this.
survived intact. Now zoom out one final time and look at where we are today. China has been watching this system for 50 years and has been building an alternative. The Belt and Road Initiative is $2 trillion in infrastructure loans across developing nations. The yuan is slowly being used in more bilateral trade agreements. Russia and China settled energy
My
deals
fellow
in
citizens, we
currencies
must
that
embrace the
bypass
challenges
dollar
ahead with
entirely.
unity and resolve.
Saudi Arabia
Together,
began
we will build a
discussing
stronger tomorrow.
yuan-denominated oil sales.
This diagram shows
That is
the
not
warning
a rumor.
signs.
That happened.
We must address these
the
risks
petrodollar
together.
system,
Your vigilance
the
is key.
foundational architecture of
This
American
complex
economic
machine
dominance
shows
is
how
being
money and
tested,
military power
and
are
America's
linked.
response
We
has
must
been
proceed
familiar.
with great caution.
Sanctions, military presence, financial pressure. The tools of enforcement have not changed much since Bretton Woods. Here's the thing nobody can answer cleanly. What happens to the American economy if the dollar loses reserve currency status?
Observe this
The
partly
country has
obscured
been running
section. It
deficits
reveals
for
overlooked
decades
details
because
in
the
the global
world
flow.
absorbs that
These
debt.
connections are key.
If the world stops absorbing it, the math changes dramatically. Nobody knows exactly how. Some economists say gradual decline. Some say sudden shock. Some say it has already started. What we do know is this. The wealth was not accidental. The system was constructed. It was constructed during moments of maximum global chaos that America helped cause or exploited. And now, for the first time in 80 years, other powers are constructing alternatives. The question is not whether America got rich from wars. The numbers answer that clearly. The question is whether the system that made that possible is still stable. And if it is not, who exactly is holding the bill when it finally arrives?